Earth rotated from west to east, rising above the horizon and falling below it. At 1800 hours on June 20th, the Black Tower's treasure hunting game's second day came to an end. The sun gradually sank and players from all over the world stared with horror at the Black Tower closest to them. Many smart players found the junction between two districts and waited for the world to collapse. At this moment, the earth made a mournful cry and in a flash, 1/7 of the world's cities started to collapse. Many players were prepared after the previous day. Once the Black Tower in their area started to disappear, they immediately ran into the adjacent areas to escape the disaster. However, some players stood at the junction of two districts and looked at the Black Towers to their left and right, their eyes desperately widening. No. The two Black Towers started to collapse. On the left side, the tall buildings collapsed like an avalanche while the right side shook and erased all traces of humanity. Tears instantly flowed from their eyes as they shouted desperately, trying to leave the two districts. Everything was too late. 1/7 of the world had disappeared again and the Black Tower produced a global report. Ding dong. On June 20, 2018, 2118 Black Towers have randomly disappeared. The sound suddenly stopped and the Black Tower continued, 2,118 Black Towers have disappeared. There was no chance for the surviving humans to react as the Black Tower continued, ding dong. At 1801 on June 20, 2018, players in District 1 of South Asia have successfully passed the second Black Tower. Ding dong. At 1801 on June 20th, this was announced 3 times, like the hope of dawn after the end of the day. More than 2 million people heard the Black Tower's announcement. Tears of despair hadn't fallen yet when smiles of joy and excitement appeared on their faces. We won. We won another Black Tower. There are 5 days and 3 Black Towers left. Players, please attack the tower. At this moment, the victory of the South Asian players had become a victory for humans around the world. Tang Mo and Fu Wenduo were driving a car and struggling across the ruins of many cities to arrive in the Henan province. Along the way, they also encountered an area that was collapsing. Fortunately, they responded quickly and Fu Wenduo drove everyone out of the area. Fu Wenduo listened to the Black Tower and found something unusual. The Black Tower didn't announce which players cleared the Black Tower. Tang Mo thought about it. South Asia District 1, it should be the Black Tower in New Delhi, India. There is no announcement about the people who cleared it, is it because there were many people? Chen Shan thought for a moment. They clearly didn't know what happened in India but a strange thought flashed in her mind. The little girl opened her mouth. There is another possibility. All the players who attacked the tower are dead. Tang Mo jerked and turned to look at Chen Shan. Chen Shan was also frightened by what she had just said. She wanted to say that she didn't know why she said these words. However, both she and Tang Mo knew that the super-intelligent thinking meant that her speculation had a 50% chance of being correct despite no evidence. Chen Shan wouldn't say this speculation for no reason. Tang Mo turned and looked forward, his voice calm. The players who attacked the tower in South Asia District 1 are all dead. India, New Delhi, the India Gate. The pungent smell of blood filled the air and the city's air seemed to stop flowing. The warm setting sun illuminated the blood on the ground, reflecting a golden brilliance. The red blood dyed the splendid and towering New Delhi Gate in bright colors while a small red figure was nailed to the Delhi door by a long spear. The delicate little crown fell to the ground as the red-haired loli shivered and tried to pull the spear from her chest. She coughed up blood as she reached the end of her life. There was a mountain of corpses at the bottom of her feet. The South Asian players used their lives to build a high bridge, sacrificing them lives for the spear to hit. The spear penetrated deeply into the Queen of Hearts' chest and she no longer had the strength to resist. In fact, Tang Mo and Chen Shan had guessed something wrong. The South Asian players suffered heavy losses but there were some survivors. After hearing the voice of the Black Tower, the players who fell among the mountain of corpses and survived were first stunned and then cried. They burst out crying. Half a month ago, the Black Tower forced them to attack the 5th floor. At that time, all senior players in South Asia were wiped out and no one had the opportunity to go to the 6th floor. Now they made it. The Queen of Hearts' lips moved as she tried to say something, but the light in her eyes were almost gone. The red-haired loli angrily wanted to tell these people that killing the tower guard wasn't the only way to attack the tower. There were still many ways for senior players to attack the tower. She suddenly remembered that the strongest of the group had only attacked the 4th floor of the Black Tower. She could only close her eyes and not say anything. The red-haired loli couldn't open her eyes. The moment before her eyes closed completely she felt like she was caught in someone's arms. The man was very rough as he pulled the spear out of her chest without any gentleness. He smiled helplessly. My lady, why didn't you let them attack the tower in other ways? Her mouth couldn't speak. The Queen of Hearts angrily cried out in her heart, the group of stinking humans has to be at least the 5th floor. They aren't even on the 5th floor. I can't play a game even if I want to. The circus leader smiled softly and disappeared with the Queen of Hearts. My lady, I saved your life. You owe me 10 moonflowers now and you can't pay in installments. Queen of Hearts, go attack your mother's tower. On the morning of June 21st, the 3rd Black Tower was also broken. Tang Mo's group of 6 had just reached the border of Chongqing and Bai Ruiao smiled. Wow, now only the towers in Guangzhou and Chongqing are left. Andre glanced at him and said coldly, lead the way to the 5th tower. The baby-faced youth laughed happily. It has been so long yet your Chinese hasn't improved. Andre punched the tree behind Bai Ruiao and threatened him to shut up. Bai Ruiao seemed to not hear anything as he turned to smile at Tang Mo. Tang, Major Fu drives badly. How about I drive? Tang Mo stated coldly, you give directions. Bai Ruiao could only helplessly spread open his hands. At 1658 on June 21st, a jeep passed through Fengjia's bridge and arrived at Fengjia County, Chongqing. As the car drove over the bridge, Fu Wenduo suddenly stepped on the accelerator and everyone stared at him. They saw him turning swiftly while moving his wrist at the same time. A black dart flew through the air and towards an abandoned newsstand not far away. There seemed to be something in front of the newsstand. The dart shot through the newsstand and it quickly became damaged. Fu Wenduo declared, there is something in this city. Everyone saw it but the thing ran so fast they couldn't see what it was. Andre said, it is very small and short. It shouldn't be human. Bai Ruiao raised his eyebrows. Big Bear, why can't it be human? What if it's a child or dwarf? Tang Mo heard dwarf and his heart jolted. Dwarf? Bai Ruiao smiled. Yes, Snow White's story always has dwarves. Hehe, Snow White, and the 7 dwarves. Everyone, there were 7 dwarves. The unknown danger was always the scariest. The group abandoned their cars and took the opportunity to carefully observe the city. 6 months ago, Bai Ruiao was forcefully pulled into the tower attack game and attacked the 2nd floor. However, he was only passing by and didn't live here. Chongqing Fengjia was one of the many counties in Chongqing and it was unremarkable. It was located in the embrace of a mountain and the Yangtze River passed through it. The river splashed against the river bank, creating a white foam and the loud sound of water. Everything here was no different from before the earth went online. A quiet town hidden in the mountains with a small population, green mountains and green hills. Apart from, Tang Mo gripped his small parasol. Do you see anybody? The group shook their heads. The 6 people moved through every corner of the city but they didn't see any people. Fu Wenduo came to a conclusion, apart from the one suspected of being a dwarf, there isn't anyone in this city. He glanced at Bai Ruiao. Bai Ruiao raised his hands. Don't look at me. When I was passing through here, it was no different from other districts. There were many players. Perhaps after half a year, they failed to attack the tower and died in the game. This possibility wasn't impossible. The Black Tower once opened the last person elimination game. If the players in Fengjia were weak, they might have been eliminated by the Black Tower. It wasn't impossible for an entire district to be wiped out. There might be some players who cleared it but they left the city for more resource-rich places. Then Tang Mo said, something isn't right. The 6 players were all senior players, with even Fu Wensheng clearing the 4th floor of the Black Tower. The whole city seemed frozen and there were no traces of fighting or blood. It shouldn't be like this if the last player elimination game had taken place here. They walked cautiously towards the city center. Tang Mo suddenly turned his head and looked at a tea store on the street. His eyes stared at the door of the store which was wide open. The black painted store was like a monster, waiting for its prey to enter. Tang Mo stared at the store before exchanging looks with Fu Wenduo. Fu Wenduo nodded. Tang Mo pulled out the small parasol and walked lightly into the store. He was just about to enter the store when a black figure rushed out, waving a wooden stick and fiercely hitting Tang Mo. Fu Wenduo was faster than it. He moved his legs and the dark triangular weapon stopped the stick. The skinny dwarf saw it was stopped and opened his mouth, grinning viciously. Then he was startled when he saw Fu Wenduo's face. In the same way, Fu Wenduo also frowned. He recalled where he had seen this face before. Tang Mo also felt that he knew this dwarf. A sharp scream was soon heard. Damn Mr. A, you are the damn Mr. A and Mr. B. It's you. I will never forget such ugly faces in my life. You are the ones who got me fired by the circus leader. You made me lose me job and I had to go and wash the feet of that damn Snow White. I'm going to kill you. Sneeze shouted angrily and once again waved the big stick at Fu Wenduo. Bai Ruiao smiled and reached out to block the blow. He pretended to be surprised. Hey, you are weak, much weaker than I imagined. Sneeze tried to pull the stick from Bai Ruiao's hand but his strength wasn't higher than the other person. At this time, Tang Mo finally remembered and he stared at Fu Wenduo with surprise. The strange circus instance, isn't he the circus employee who paid us silver coins to transport the big earthworm?